Hi guys, this is Wenzes from Below the Radar Above the System, and the last video today is about our superego functions and superego functions in actually all personality types and how we can really use that knowledge to, be a better person and so on. And those things I just kind of they came to me a couple of days ago and I was thinking about it. So I wanted to share it with you. So we have the role function and the ignoring function. For us, INFJs, our role function is SI. And SI is very calm. SI is very much keeping an inner peace, and just kind of, I don't know, in general, having like a sense of control of our internal sensations. And we actually don't really care about it. It's just a role we play to society, but we do it so often, and I see it in each INFJ. If they're not developed, they have that, and I've had it too. It's just this: we don't want to be a burden, we don't want to be annoying, we don't want to be like all over the place. And even if we were when we were kids or teenagers, at some point we learned it's better to be, calm and be like this. And if you look at really ISTJs and ISFJs, you really see that there's this calmness to them, and there's this role we play acting like this in front of other people, and in no way be annoying, and in no way like doing what we want and just be all over the place, which would actually much more fit our NI vision, because our NI is here and there, and we kind of suppress our NI. We don't allow it to go all the way out and use our complete capacity of it, because we're so stuck on this role of being SI. And if we meet somebody, we feel we need to be SI. SI is the right thing to do. It's something we should, how others should see us. And you see it very often. You see like, why do they act like this? I do everything right. I don't annoy them. Why do they keep pushing me? They keep pushing you probably because there's a people who can see that you don't really care about SI. See, for example, ENFJs, their role function is TE. And so they look at us and they think like, why the world, how do they always do those things? They're completely irrational. How can they just ignore TE? I'll get about we ignore TE. I'll talk about it in a second, but for there, it's their role function. And they think about, they have to obey some kind of pragmatic rules about life. They are not the ones who fall in love and do all those things and just kind of like go into those worlds and so on, because they have this role function. Or if they're not developed, because they think like, oh, I need to be pragmatic, I need to think about TE, I need to think about what I've experienced around me, and that is kind of also not allowing him to access their FE that much. And there comes specifically when you have that relationship with INFJs and ENFJ, your mirror partners, it helps you understand how much this actually, this role function is actually not right. Because I look at the ENFJ and their SI, when they're ignoring it, is completely all over the place. There's no calmness in them at all. They just like go left and right, and you see that with ENTJs and with ENFJs. If they're not healthy, or if they're like in their first stages, their ignoring function is all over the place, and they have it because they want somebody else to take care of that part for them and be strict and say, no, we're gonna do it this way. And we're the same way. We ignore TE. So we do things that are really completely, not pragmatic. We get into a situation, we see that we're actually deserving to be treated equally, and we still act completely clumsy. We still act completely irrational and so on. Although we know actually, the pragmatic thing would be to do this and to go that way, but we kind of always want to show again how we're not caring about all those things. And you see it also, we're very clumsy, or we make it like look when we're not developed, that we're clumsy, that we can't cook, that we can't, do all those things that are actually traditional, or that are, how something should be, mainly because we're looking for somebody out there to take care of that part for us, because we don't have that much strength and control in this area. The solution is, of course, to integrate SE, and once you integrate SE, and you care more about SE and TI, then you let go of the whole fixation about SI and TE. Because now I've realized I don't act that clumsy anymore. If I want to be, if I want to cook something or bake something, then I'm not directly, oh, I can't cook, I can't bake. I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this. I can decorate. I can, proof check something if I really want to. Like, I'm not acting more clumsy than I actually am. I'm not acting more or worse at something than I actually am. I sometimes didn't go to like job interviews because I said, oh, I can't, that would mean I would have to study for the interview, and I'm not going to study. Why not? Maybe studying for this one interview, maybe once, doing something that has to be done this way will get you somewhere where you want to be. Why are you not willing to kind of do those things and to take a stand and to try it? It's difficult because we know in those areas we're not the best, but we need to accept that. We need to accept that there are areas we're not the best, but we're still gonna do our best, and not just like completely do that, leave that out. So this is the TE for you. There's some pragmatic things we need to do in order to get the results we want, and we have to accept that. This is how the world works. The world is probably more attractive to, there's an attraction for physical beauty, for example. So maybe we should stop always like saying, I don't care about this, I don't care how I look, I don't care how other people perceive me, I don't care about having clean clothes and just be, put together, because this is like superficial stuff. Yeah, it may be, but it will still help you to get where you want to go. So if you have a goal and you want to be a humanitarian, or you want to reach people with something or so on, taking care of those pragmatic things, having like a detailed folder when you go somewhere, or having something that is pragmatically done as possible, it will get you further. So understand that sometimes you do really need to show the world, this is the best I can do in this area. I'm not perfect, but I'm not gonna act worse than I am. I'm gonna try my best also in those areas and just make it as much as I can, what I can give to others. I'm not gonna project it on the outside by being extremely anti-TE, because you know how hard it is for people who are not that strong TE to deal with that. Then somebody who has like TE as their role function, they have a little more control over it than we are. You know how hard it is for them if you're like completely acting on top of everything, more clumsy, more I can't do this, I can do that. It's hard enough for them to take care of that part for themselves. They can't take care of that for you. And it's the same way like this with me. If somebody's around me who's completely all over the place with SI, just has no inner calmness to them at all, it kills me. It killed me definitely, because there's like something I couldn't take care of. I wanted to have harmony, I wanted to have a balance, and I so kind of like tried so much to be that force that will keep that person safe in that area, and I couldn't do that, and that made me feel like a failure. That made me feel not a good person, not a good woman, because for me as a woman, of course, I feel, since this is a role function, this is how a woman should act. A man INFJ would feel this is a part how a man should, this is the role a man should play, have that calmness to him and so on. Understand your own restrictions and how much you can do, and it's like this with every type. Understand, first of all, your ignoring function. Don't ignore it so much. Don't make it first off. You don't want to integrate that into yourself and say, I'm going to do my best in that area, that I can on a what is the best I can do in this area that I can keep constantly, or if I really need to do something that is important to me, that I'm also gonna take care of that part too. Don't expect other people to take care of you in that area. And when it comes to your role function, understand that it's just a role and it's not who you really are. Like, I had to accept that I am not an ISFJ. I'm not, completely calm and just completely, I don't know. Yeah, just calm and grounded and have this inner calmness to me. There's a calmness to me, but this calmness comes from my understanding that I'm gonna be safe if I let my intuition go. I'm rather hyper. I'm rather cheerful. I'm rather all those things, and it's not necessary for me to play that SI role anymore, to be completely like this all the time, because this is what we naturally do, but it's not who we really are. We can be like this. We can, like, this is more myself than I used to be when I acted all like this. And it's not a bad thing to be calm. There are a lot of situations where it's the best thing to be calm, and I can be calm. It's not like you can't do it. What changes is just that you have control over it, that it's not just something that has control over you, but you can decide in what situations it's better to be more forceful, to be more SE and NI, or where it's better to be more calm and collected and so on. So yeah, this is it on the superego functions. Understand, role function is just a role. It's not something you have to do. So maybe try to do the opposite. Try not to be like this. If you're an an INTP, your role function, what would it be? Like FI. So FI is more about, it's the role function, meaning that they care about being morally right and so on. And life may be a lot easier for INTPs when they're being themselves and just kind of like go about their systems and creating some positive outcome, than to act like they care about morals so much, because INTPs normally don't. They're good people, they can be good people, but morality in itself is not as important to them as it would be, for example, for an INFP. Okay, so yeah, this is on the superego functions. I hope this helped you, and talk to you soon. Bye.